Hi, I'm Nicole. I am 17 years old and I live in the US. I'm pretty much going to tell you like my coming out story. So, like I knew that there was never something quite right about me. I thought I was just weird. Because whenever I was in like kindergarten, like as young as kindergarten, I would notice that I had attraction to girls. Like, of course, I didn't know what being bi was at the time, but like pretty much like if my teachers were attractive, I would catch myself staring at their boobs and their butt. I'm not trying to sound like a perv or anything, but like I was attracted if they're really pretty. I stared at them because I thought they were pretty, and like I did that all the way up until I was about 12. And then whenever I was about 12 in the summer of when I was in summer of 6th grade, whenever I was 12, you know, then I decided I was bi-curious. And because, like that's never, I figured out what being bi was, what lesbians were, what being bi was, what gay was, being, like if you're a guy, what being gay was. And, I realized what it was. And, I was sitting there thinking, well, maybe I'm bi. You know, you can't be straight and, like, have an attraction to girls, the way I did. So, I figured out then, I was bi-curious. So then, I started talking to girls, I started dating girls, and then, I saw, it felt right. And so, then I decided, that I was bi. And whenever I was probably about 15, I told my mom that I was, and I told her, and she was like, "Are you 100% sure?" And I was like, "Yes, I am. I'm 110% sure that I am." And she was like, "Oh, it's just the phase you're going through, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Mom," I was like, "I discovered, I realized that I was whenever I was 12. I was like, this is no phase." And she was like, "Okay, whatever." And she accepted it. She wasn't like, you're gonna go to hell, blah blah blah. She accepted it. Well, whenever I was 13, my dad, he had went on my Yahoo Messenger, and he had found these messages from this girl I had been talking to. And I didn't want to tell my dad because, I was afraid to, because, I was like, if anyone's going to judge me, it's going to be him. Because, me and him, we haven't had the best relationship. I didn't know how he was going to be about all of that. So, he was like, "Who's Becca, blah, blah, blah." I said, "My friend?" And he goes, "Oh, you mean your little lesbian lover?" I said, "What are you talking about, Dad?" And he goes, "I read the messages." And he was like, "Are you going to explain this?" And he was like, "How are you going to explain this?" I was like, he was like, "Why was you saying that to her? You're straight." I'm like, "No, I'm not." I was like, "Have you ever considered that maybe I'm not straight? That maybe I am bi?" He goes, "You're bisexual." I said, "Yes, I am." And he pretty much went off on me, and he was like, he was like, "Oh, you're bisexual," and I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, fine." He was like, "No, you can't go over to your chick friend's house. You can't go to your friend's house. They can't come over here." He pretty much just like exploded on me pretty much. I mean, I didn't like it. I was like, seriously? So, I cried or whatever, and then I went and took a bath, and then like an hour later I went in there and I was like, "Dad," I was like, "I'm sorry. I was just confused. I'm straight." Because I knew that if I kept on, then, he wasn't going to let me hang out with my friends, and like my friends are the ones that I really need the most. And like I came out to my mom, but I haven't my dad yet. I mean, it's really none of his business. He should have no concern of what, my, what, sex wise, what kind of people I like. If it's a guy or girl, it shouldn't matter. And so pretty much, okay. So pretty much, okay. So like, people like I'm a proud bisexual girl. Like I am very proud. Like I don't care. Like I'll go with someone and I'll be straight up. Like if they ask me, they're like, "Do you like girls?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do. I like girls." I'm not afraid to tell them. It's like, why should you be afraid? You are who you are. You shouldn't be afraid of that. You shouldn't be afraid to tell people. If they want to sit there and dog you and stuff, all because of what gender you like, then they're not worth being friends with anyways. They're lame. So pretty much, like, I came out in the 7th grade. I came out to, like, everyone at school in the 7th grade. I mean, I wanted, like, my close friends, like, my really close friends already knew, but, at that point, I wasn't ready to tell, like, everyone, but it ended up happening anyways, because there was this kid named Jordan Woosley, hated my guts. Well, I think I done something to make him mad, and then I'm very random. I'm sorry, but I done something that made him mad, and then we're in the middle of class, and then he randomly screams out, "Well, you're the one who's a stupid emo bi bitch," and I'm like, and everyone was like, "What? You're bi?" And I'm like, "Cat's out of the bag, yeah, I am. If you don't like me, that's your problem." So pretty much anyone I've run into, like all my friends, like they're okay with it and stuff. And like I've had friends that are bi, and I love I love everything. Doesn't matter if you're transgendered, doesn't matter if you're lesbian, doesn't matter if you're gay, doesn't matter any of that, because you were born that way. Whether people say you're gonna go to hell for being that way or not, you were born that way. And you can't sit there and act like you're someone you're not, because there's no reason why you should act like someone you're not. If you're bi, you're bi. If you're lesbian, you're lesbian. Simple as that. If people don't like you, that's their problem. But, that's pretty much, all I wanted to talk about. I know I got extremely off topic after, but it's all good, and that's pretty much all I want to talk about. Bye! Bye!